She was a broken alien widow until a human gave her love and a family. On the far edge of known space where stars grew thin and silence ruled, there sat a small gray moon named Varela. Its surface was cracked and cold, lit only by the dull red light of a dying star. Here lived Luna, a woman of the Zenthari people, tall with silver skin that shimmered like frost and eyes the color of deep violets. Once she had been part of a proud line of warriors and poets who sang to the stars and shaped light into art. But that life was gone. 10 cycles ago, the Krell had come swift and merciless. They burned her city, turned her home to ash, and took everything she loved. Her mate, Kale, strong and gentle with hands that could mend broken wings, had died shielding their children. The 2 younglings, barely old enough to speak their names, were lost in the smoke and fire. Luna survived only because she had been on patrol that day. When she returned, there was nothing left but silence and ruins. Since then, she lived alone in a dome carved from black glass, its walls lined with memories she could not bear to throw away. A tiny toy shaped like a star, a scarf woven by Kale's mother, a data crystal that still played his voice singing a lullaby. She spoke to no one, ate little, and moved through her days like a shadow. The Zenthari Council had offered her a new post on a distant colony, a chance to serve again, but she refused. How could she lead when her heart was buried under rubble? How could she sing when her voice had turned to dust? She spent her days walking the empty plains of Varela, collecting smooth stones or watching the slow drift of dust clouds. Nights were worse. That was when the memories came sharp and loud. She would sit by the window staring at the red star until her eyes burned. She had no hope, no plan, just the slow turning of time and the weight of grief. One morning a sound broke the silence. Not the wind, not the creak of cooling rock, but the low hum of engines. Luna stood frozen. Ships did not come here. Varela was forgotten, marked as dead on all star charts. She moved to the ridge overlooking the landing zone, pulse blade ready at her side. A small vessel descended, not sleek or armed like a Krell warship, but rounded with dull metal panels and blinking lights. It landed softly, kicking up a ring of gray dust. The ramp lowered and a single figure stepped out, wrapped in a thick thermal suit. Luna watched from the shadows. The stranger removed her helmet, revealing short brown hair and green eyes wide with wonder. Not fear. She was small compared to Luna, barely reaching her shoulder. But she stood tall. She held up a small device that projected glowing symbols into the air. Luna recognized the universal peace sign. Still, she did not move. The human woman waited, then spoke in standard tongue, her voice soft and clear. "My name is Claire. I came to check the old relay station. Didn't expect to find anyone here." Luna stepped forward slowly, her silver skin catching the red light. "I am Luna," she said, her voice rough from disuse. Claire did not flinch. She smiled. "Nice to meet you. Do you need anything? Food, medicine, tools?" Luna almost laughed. What could this fragile earthling offer her? A woman who had lost everything. But Claire did not push. She simply nodded, left a small package near the base of the ridge, and returned to her ship. Luna waited until the engines faded before approaching. Inside the package was a bar of nutrient-rich food, a thermal blanket, and a music chip labeled Earth Melodies. She did not use any of it that day. But the next morning Claire returned. Again she brought something small, this time a packet of seeds. "These grow in red soil," she said, holding them out. "They bloom even in hard places." Luna said nothing but took the seeds. Claire sat on a nearby rock and talked about her work on Mars Colony 3. How she fixed old satellites and loved watching twin sunrises. Luna listened from a distance. The human's voice was calm like water over stone. She came again the next day and the next. Each time she left something useful and stayed a little longer. Slowly Luna began to answer her questions with short words. Yes, no, maybe. Then full sentences. Then stories. Weeks passed. Claire learned about Kale and the children. Luna spoke of them with pain but also with love. Claire never said it will be okay or you'll find someone else. She just listened and sometimes placed a warm hand on Luna's arm. One evening, as the red star dipped below the horizon, Claire said, "You don't have to be alone anymore." Luna looked at her, then truly looked. She saw not pity but kindness, not weakness but quiet strength. That night, for the first time in 10 cycles, she slept without dreaming of fire. Spring meant little on a dead moon, but Claire had built a small garden pod using parts from her ship. She planted the seeds and watered them with recycled condensation. Tiny green shoots pushed through the gray soil. Luna watched them grow, fascinated by their stubborn will to live. Claire taught her how to care for them, how to prune and protect. In return, Luna showed Claire how to read the stars as the Zenthari did not, as points of light but as voices of ancestors whispering wisdom. They began to share meals inside the dome. Claire brought protein bars and dried fruit from her ship. Luna offered spiced root tea and nutrient paste. They laughed over Claire's clumsy attempts to say Zenthari words and Luna's confusion over Earth sayings like raining cats and dogs. One day, Claire gave her a small wooden box. Inside were 2 carved figures, one tall with silver skin, the other small with brown hair holding hands. "For us," she said simply. Luna's eyes filled with tears. She had not cried since the bombing. She held the figures close and whispered, "Thank you." But peace never lasts long in the silent quadrant. One day a sharp beep came from Claire's comms unit. A distress signal echoed through the static. A Krell scout ship had been spotted near the outer rim hunting for Zenthari survivors. Luna's blood turned cold. She knew their cruelty, their hunger for Zenthari tech and flesh. She turned to Claire, voice firm. "You must leave. Take your ship and go now." Claire shook her head. "I'm not leaving you. You're my family now." The word hit Luna like a wave. Family. She had not heard it used for herself in so long, but Claire meant it. Luna saw it in her eyes, in the set of her jaw, and the way she stood ready to fight. They prepared through the night. Luna activated old defense grids buried beneath the moon's crust. Claire rewired her ship's systems to send false signals and jam enemy scans. They worked side by side, no words needed, just trust. When the Krell ship descended low and menacing, its hull scarred with battle marks, Luna stood at the dome's entrance, pulse blade humming with energy. Claire stood beside her, holding a modified plasma torch jury rigged from ship parts. The Krell warriors emerged armored in black metal, their faces hidden behind snarling masks. They laughed at the sight of a lone Zenthari and a human. They thought it would be easy. They were wrong. The fight was fast and fierce. Luna moved like lightning, her blade cutting through armor with practiced grace. Claire used the dome's reflective surfaces to blind the enemy and the rough terrain to trap them. Together they turned the Krell's arrogance into weakness. When the last warrior fell, the moon was quiet again. Only the hum of Claire's ship and their heavy breaths. Afterward, Luna collapsed to her knees, shaking. Claire knelt beside her, wrapping her in a blanket. "You were amazing," she whispered. "No," Luna said softly. "We were amazing." In the days that followed, they repaired the dome and strengthened the shields. Claire sent a message to Mars Colony, not for rescue, but for supplies. She planned to stay. Luna asked why. Claire smiled and said, "Because home isn't a place. It's who you're with." Luna finally understood. She was not broken. She was healing. And she was not alone. Time moved gently on Varela, now called Haven by all who knew its story. The red star still rose each cycle, but its light felt warmer, somehow kinder. Luna walked the garden paths slower now, her silver skin lined with age, but her violet eyes bright with peace. Beside her, Claire leaned on a cane made of moonwood. Her green eyes crinkled with smiles. They had lived long lives filled with battles and bread-baking losses and laughter. Their hands still fit together like they always had. The dome had grown into a village. New homes spiraled outward from the original structure built by mixed hands. Zenthari human, and others who found refuge here. Vines of earth ivy and Zenthari starbloom climbed the walls. Children of all kinds played in the central square. Some with silver skin, some with brown, some with scales or feathers. They spoke a blend of languages, sang songs from a dozen worlds, and called Luna and Claire grandmother without being asked. Neri was now a leader, not just of defense, but of diplomacy. She traveled between Alara, Mars, and the Rim worlds, forging bonds with steady hands and sharper words. Tor remained on Varela, running the school that taught not just facts, but kindness. His poems were known across 3 sectors. Sela led the music circle, her voice carrying the old Zenthari lullabies into new generations. Kayla, the baby, left at their gate, was now 10. Cycles old, curious and bold always, trailing after Neri, asking about ships and stars. One morning a strange signal pulsed through the comms, not distress, not war, but a question. It came from the far rim near the void edge where no one lived. The message was simple. "Is this haven the place that takes broken things and makes them whole, Luna?" And Claire exchanged a look. They had heard that before. They sent back one word. Yes. Days later, a small pod landed on the ridge. Not damaged, not armed, just tired. Out stepped an old Krell. His armor was dull, his face scarred not with pride but with shame. He carried no weapon, only a small box wrapped in cloth. He knelt before the gate. "I was part of the invasion," he said, voice rough. "I burned your city. I took lives. I have run from that truth for 50 cycles. I heard you forgive even the unforgivable. I do not ask to stay. I only ask to say I am sorry." Silence fell over the square. Children stopped playing. Elders watched. Neri's hand went to her blade, but Tor placed a hand on her arm. Luna stepped forward slowly. Claire followed. "You burned my home," Luna said. "You took my mate, my children." "I did," he whispered, head low. "Why come here? Because I saw your signal, your song, your light, and I remembered I was once more than a weapon. I want to be more again." Luna looked at Claire. Claire nodded almost imperceptibly. Then Luna turned back. "Stand up." The Krell rose trembling. "You will not live among us yet," she said, "but you will work. You will help rebuild what you broke. You will listen more than you speak. And if your heart is true, you may one day call this place home." Tears fell from the Krell's eyes, black and thick. He bowed again. "Thank you." They named him Rask. He worked in the gardens, at first pulling weeds, carrying water. Children avoided him at first, but Kayla, the boldest of them all, brought him a sunspark flower one day. He held it like it was glass. Slowly trust grew. He taught the older students about Krell tactics, not to fight but to understand. He carved stones for the memorial wall with hands that once held fire. Life flowed. Seasons turned. The garden bloomed even in hard times. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Luna and Claire sat on their favorite bench beneath the old dome. Kayla curled at their feet, reading a story Tor had written. Rask stood guard nearby, not as a warrior, but as a protector. "Do you ever wonder?" Claire said, "If we had stayed on Earth or Alara, what life would be?" Luna smiled. "I had that life once. Empty and drifting. Here I have everything. You. Them. This peace we built with our hands and hearts. There is no better place." Claire squeezed her hand. "Me neither." But peace in the galaxy was never final. A new threat stirred not Krell this time, but something older, deeper. The void worms. Massive creatures of dark energy that consumed stars and left silence behind. They moved slowly but surely toward the inner sectors. Haven lay in their path. Panic spread through the comms. Colonies prepared to flee. But Luna called a council. "We will not run," she said. "We will not hide. We will stand." This time they did not fight with weapons. Tor had studied the worms for years. They were not evil, just hungry, lost in the dark. He believed they could be guided, not killed. With Neri's help, they built a beacon not of light but of sound. A song made from every voice in Haven, every species, every age. They called it the Harmony Pulse. Rask helped design the emitters using old Krell resonance tech. Scylla led the choir. Kayla and the children added their pure tones. When the first worm neared the system, they activated the beacon. The song rose not loud but deep. It carried memory of stars of love of home. The worm slowed. It turned its massive form not toward Varela but away, drawn not by fear but by beauty. One by one the worms changed course. The inner sectors were saved not by war but by song. Afterward, the galaxy called Haven the heart of the Alliance. Ships came not just for safety but for wisdom. Luna and Claire refused titles, but their words carried weight. They taught that strength was not in fists but in open hands. That family was not blood but choice. Years passed. Claire's steps grew slower, Luna's breath shallower. They knew their time was nearing its end, but they were not afraid. They had built something that would last. One evening they sat in the garden surrounded by their family, Neri, Torsella, Kalarask, and dozens more. The red star set painting the sky in gold and violet. Claire leaned her head on Luna's shoulder. "Thank you," she whispered, "for giving me a home." Luna kissed her hair. "Thank you for giving me a family." They closed their eyes together as the twin moons rose. Their hands stayed linked. Their breaths slowed, then stopped as one. The next morning the whole of Haven gathered, not in sorrow but in celebration. They sang the old lullaby, then the harmony pulse, then earth songs and Zenthari chants and Krell oaths of peace. They buried Luna and Claire beneath the oldest sunspark tree, their bodies wrapped in woven light and earthcloth. Neri became the new voice of Haven. Tor kept the school alive. Sella's songs carried their names to the stars. Kayla promised to protect the garden. Rask stood guard over their grave, not as penance, but as honor. Life continued. Children played under the red star. Ships came and went. The garden bloomed. And in every act of kindness, in every shared meal, in every song sung under twin moons, their love lived on, not as memory, but as living truth. They had been broken once, but together they built a world where broken things could heal, and that world would never fade. Peace settled over Varela like a soft blanket, but Luna knew better than to trust silence. The Krell had been beaten, not destroyed. Somewhere in the dark between stars they regrouped, sharpened blades, and plotted. Yet life went on. The garden bloomed brighter than ever, fed by rain. Claire coaxed from the thin atmosphere using cloud seeders. Neri, now 15, designed a new kind of drone that could heal damaged plants with light pulses. Tor, at 14, spent his nights teaching Zenthari star songs to human children via hologram link from Mars Colony. Their voices rose together across light years, a bridge of sound and hope. Luna walked the ridge each dawn, scanning the sky, not with fear, but with watchfulness. She trained with Neri in the old combat forms, but also taught her the deeper ways. The Zenthari code of honor. The songs that calmed storms, the rituals that honored the dead, without drowning in sorrow. Claire worked beside her not as a warrior, but as a builder. She reinforced the dome's shields with layered alloys and coded new defense protocols that learned from each threat. Their strength was not just in weapons, but in unity. One day a small ship arrived, not Krell, not Federation, but independent. It bore the mark of a trader from the Rim worlds. The pilot was a young human woman named Maya with bright eyes and a nervous smile. She carried a data chip and a request. "My sister lives on Mars," she said. "She told me about this place. About you. I have a child. Silver skin, violet eyes. Half Centauri. Her father was lost in the border wars. I don't know how to raise her among humans." They stare. They whisper. "I heard you built a home for people like us." Luna looked at Claire. Claire nodded. "Bring her here." The child's name was Sela. She was 7 cycles old, shy and wide-eyed. She clung to Maya's hand but watched Luna with curiosity, not fear. That night they sat in the garden under the twin moons. Sela ate bread baked by Claire and listened as Tor sang a lullaby in Zenthari. Her eyes grew heavy. For the first time in months she slept without nightmares. Maya stayed a week, then left with tears and thanks. Sela remained. She fit into their rhythm like a missing note in a song. Neri taught her how to climb the dome's support beams. Tor showed her how to sketch constellations. Claire helped her grow her first flower. Luna held her when the memories of her father came too strong. They did not replace her mother. They became her family. News of Varela spread quietly, not through broadcasts but through whispers among the lost, the mixed, the outcast. A half-Krell boy whose human mother hid him. A Zenthari elder who refused to live in pure colonies. A human engineer who loved Zenthari poetry more than machines. One by one they came. Not many, just enough. Luna and Claire welcomed them all. They built new domes linked by walkways and gardens. They called it Haven. It was not perfect. Arguments flared over customs, over food, over how to raise children. But they talked. They listened. They learned. Luna taught them that grief could be shared, not just carried alone. Claire showed them that difference was not weakness but strength. Neri and Tor became teachers, not just students. Sela found her voice and sang with Tor under the stars. Then the signal came. Not from Krell. Not from Federation. From deep space near the void edge. A distress call in broken standard. "Help us, they are coming. They burn everything." Luna recognized the pattern. It was the same as the first invasion. The Krell were not just hunting survivors anymore. They were expanding, cleansing, and Haven was in their path. This time they did not wait. Luna sent word to Alara. Claire contacted Mars and every independent captain they knew. Tor coded a new network that linked all their systems into one mind. Neri armed every drone, every turret, every shield. Sela helped younger children memorize emergency routes through songs. The fleet gathered above Varela. Not just ships, but hearts. Zenthari vessels gleamed beside human freighters. Traders brought scavenged weapons. Even the half-Krell boy's mother sent a message. "I stand with you." The Krell came at dawn. 5 cruisers, then 10, then more. They did not speak. They fired. Energy beams lit the sky. Explosions bloomed in silence. But Haven did not fall. Luna stood on the ridge, not alone. Claire beside her, Neri behind her, Tor at the comm, Sela holding a light staff. Around them others stood. Zenthari humans, mixed bloods all together. They fought not for one species, but for all. The battle raged for hours. Drones swarmed like angry bees. Light cannons flared. Human missiles found weak points. Zenthari songs disrupted Krell comms. Sela led the children in a chant that somehow strengthened the shields. Neri flew a fighter she built from scrap and took down a cruiser with one perfect shot. Tor guided every move with calm voice and steady hands. Claire's ship took a direct hit. She should have died. But Luna pulled her from the wreckage. Her silver skin burned her breath shallow. "Hold on," Claire whispered. "You promised me forever." "I did," Luna said. "And I keep my promises." In the final moment, the Krell general appeared on the main screen. His face twisted in rage. "You are insects," he spat. "You will be erased." Luna stepped forward. We are more than you see. We are love. We are memory. We are the future you tried to kill, and we are still here. She activated the final protocol Tor had designed. Not a weapon but a song. The combined voices of every being in Haven, Zenthari human child elder, rose in harmony. It pulsed through space not as sound but as energy. The Krell systems overloaded. Their ships shuddered. Their weapons failed. They fled. Silence returned heavier this time. The sky was littered with debris. The ground scarred. But the dome stood. The garden still bloomed in patches. The children emerged from bunkers blinking in the red light. They rebuilt again. Not just walls but trust. Not just shields but community. The half-Krell boy planted a tree where his mother's message had been received. Sela sang at every gathering. Neri became head of defense not for war but for peace. Tor opened a school that taught every language, every story, every star map. Claire recovered slowly. Luna never left her side. One evening as they sat in the repaired garden, Claire said, "Do you think it's over?" Luna took her hand. "Maybe not. But we are ready. And we are not alone." Years passed. Haven grew. Ships came not just for safety but for learning. They called it the Moon of Many Hearts. Luna and Claire aged together, their silver and brown hair mingling in the wind. Neri married a Zenthari engineer and built a home near the ridge. Tor traveled the stars sharing songs but always returned. Sela became a teacher, her voice strong, her heart open. One day a new child arrived, human with violet eyes, left at the gate with a note, "Please raise her where she belongs." Luna held the baby and wept. Claire wrapped them both in a blanket. They named her Kaila after Luna's lost mate. Life continued not without pain but filled with purpose. They honored the past but built the future. They loved not in spite of difference but because of it. On quiet nights they gathered under the twin moons. Elders told stories. Children sang. Drones hummed softly overhead. The red star watched over them all. Luna looked at Claire, then at their family spread across the garden. She had been broken once, a widow lost in grief, but love had found her. Not grand or loud but steady and true. It had given her not just a family but a world, and in that world she was whole. Months passed on Virella and the dome no longer felt like a tomb. It hummed with life. The garden pod bloomed with earth flowers, bright yellow sunsparks and soft blue whisper bells that swayed even without wind. Luna tended them each morning, her long fingers gentle on the petals. Claire watched from the doorway smiling. She had never seen Luna so calm, so present. The silver woman still carried sorrow in her eyes, but now there was light there too. They built a second room from salvaged ship panels and old Zenthari alloy. Claire painted the walls with pigments made from crushed moon rock and plant dye. Luna carved symbols of protection into the doorframe. It was meant to be a nursery, though neither spoke the word aloud yet. Hope was a fragile thing, and they did not want to scare it away. One day a faint signal pulsed through Claire's long-range scanner. Not a distress call, but a repeating beacon from a derelict escape pod drifting near the asteroid belt. Luna recognized the frequency. Zenthari design. Her heart pounded. She had not heard that tone since the fall of her homeworld. Without a word, she suited up. Claire followed. They flew Claire's ship through the silent rocks until they found it. A small teardrop-shaped pod, its hull scorched but intact. Inside were two children. A boy and a girl no older than 5 cycles, their silver skin dull with hunger. Their violet eyes wide with fear. They clung to each other, trembling. Luna knelt slowly, speaking in soft Zenthari. "It's all right. You're safe now," the boy whispered. "Our parents are gone." Luna's chest ached, but she nodded. "I know, but you are not alone." Back on Virella, Claire warmed broth while Luna wrapped the children in thermal blankets. The girl clutched a small doll made of wire and cloth. The boy stared at the ceiling as if expecting the sky to fall again. Luna sat with them through the night, singing the same lullaby Kale used to sing. Slowly their breathing steadied. They slept. In the morning, Claire showed them the garden. The girl touched a sunspark petal and gasped. "It's warm," she said. The boy picked up a smooth stone and turned it in his hand like it held secrets. Luna watched them from the doorway, tears in her eyes. Claire took her hand. "We'll raise them together," she said. And so they did. Luna taught them Zenthari songs and how to read star patterns. She showed them how to honor their ancestors by lighting small crystal candles each evening. Claire taught them how to plant seeds, how to fix a broken wire, and how to laugh at silly jokes. The dome filled with noise. Running feet questions about earth animals and Zenthari myths, bedtime stories, and shared meals. The children's names were Neri and Tor. Neri was bold, curious, always climbing the dome's support beams. Tor was quiet, thoughtful, often found sketching the stars in a notebook Claire gave him. They called Luna Mother and Claire Mama. The words felt strange at first, like wearing new shoes, but soon they fit perfectly. One evening, as the red star set, Neri asked why the Krell hurt people. Luna sat very still. Because some beings forget that others have hearts too, she said. But we remember. And that makes us stronger. Claire added, we protect each other. That's what family does. Tor looked up from his drawing. Are we really a family? Luna pulled both children close. Yes, more than blood. We chose each other. Life settled into a rhythm. Mornings in the garden, afternoons repairing systems or studying old data crystals. Nights were for stories and songs. Claire taught Luna how to bake simple bread using yeast cultures from Mars. Luna taught Claire how to weave light threads into glowing tapestries. They danced once under the red star, just the two of them, spinning slowly in the dust, laughing like younglings. But peace in the silent quadrant was never permanent. One day the scanner beeped again. Not a pod this time, but a full Krell cruiser. Larger, faster, and heading straight for Varela. Claire's face went pale. They must have traced the pod signal. Luna stood tall. We won't run. This time they had more to protect. They worked fast. Luna activated every hidden defense node she had buried over the years. Claire reprogrammed drones to mimic Xanthari war signatures. They moved the children to a shielded bunker beneath the dome, stocked with food, water, and a data pad full of stories. When the cruiser arrived, it hovered like a storm cloud. 3 drop pods slammed into the surface. Krell warriors poured out more than before, better armed. Luna met them at the ridge, her pulse blade bright. Claire stood beside her, holding a sonic emitter she had built from ship parts. The battle was harder this time. The Krell were smarter. They flanked them, used smoke grenades and sonic pulses. Luna took a hit to her shoulder but kept fighting. Claire's emitter overloaded, but she used the casing as a club. Neri and Tor watched from the bunker window, hands clasped tight. Just as hope began to fade, a new sound filled the sky. The deep thrum of human engines. 3 Federation freighters dropped out of warp, their hulls marked with the Mars colony insignia. Claire had sent a coded message weeks ago just in case. The freighters fired warning shots, not to kill but to scare. The Krell hesitated. Facing Xantharian humans together was not in their plan. With a roar of engines they retreated. Silence returned. Luna leaned on Claire, breathing hard. You called for help? I called for backup, she said. I wasn't taking chances with our family. Afterward, the Federation crews helped repair the dome and install stronger shields. They left supplies and a promise. Mars colony would watch over Varela now. As their ships left, Luna held Claire's hand and whispered, "Thank you." Time flowed like a quiet river. Neri started school lessons with a tutor on Mars via hologram. Tor built a small telescope from scrap parts and mapped the stars. Claire expanded the garden, adding fruit vines and herbs. Luna began writing again. Poems about loss, yes, but also about sunrise and small hands holding hers. One day Neri asked if they could visit Earth. Claire laughed. Maybe one day. But Earth is far. Varela is our home now. Is it really home? Tor asked. Luna looked at Claire, then at the children. Home is where love lives, she said. And ours is right here. They celebrated small things. A first ripe tomato, a repaired drone, a clear night with no fear. They built a swing from ship cables and hung it under the dome's arch. Neri swung high, laughing. Tor read beneath it. Claire and Luna sat side by side, watching the red star rise. Luna no longer wore her grief like armor. It was still there, but softer, like a scar that no longer hurt. She smiled more. She sang louder. She dreamed of futures, not just pasts. Claire no longer felt like an outsider. She belonged here in this silver and green world with her strange, beautiful family. One evening, as they sat in the garden, Claire leaned her head on Luna's shoulder. "Do you ever miss the old days?" "Sometimes," Luna said. "But I love these days more." They watched the children chase fireflies Claire had bioengineered to glow in Varela's thin air. The lights danced like fallen stars. In that moment, everything felt whole. Not perfect, life was never perfect, but full. Full of love, full of hope, full of second chances. Luna knew the Krell might return. The galaxy was vast and cruel, but they were ready. Not just with weapons, but with something stronger. With each other. They had built a life from ashes and seeds and stubborn hearts, and that life was worth protecting. As the night deepened, Claire took Luna's hand. "I'm glad I landed here," she said. Luna kissed her forehead. "So am I." And under the red star on a quiet moon, far from everything, they knew they were home. Not because of walls or soil or stars, but because they had chosen each other and refused to let go. Years flowed like quiet tides on Varela, and the dome had grown into a true home. Vines of earth ivy curled around its obsidian walls, and the garden bloomed in layers of color. Yellow sun sparks, red ember bells, and soft blue whisper bells that glowed faintly at night. Luna walked its paths each morning, her silver skin catching the red star's light. Beside her, Neri, now 12 cycles tall and quick as wind, chattered about her latest project. A drone that could pollinate flowers without touching them. Tor followed behind, sketching cloud patterns in his ever-present notebook, his quiet mind always turning. Claire worked near the solar array, adjusting panels with careful hands. She had aged gently, her brown hair now streaked with silver. But her green eyes still held the same warmth that first drew Luna from her grief. They had built something rare here, not just survival but joy, not just safety but belonging. The children were no longer small. Neri trained in Xanthari combat forms under Luna's watchful eye, but also studied human engineering with Claire. Tor preferred stars and stories. He spent nights mapping constellations and writing poems that made even Luna cry. They called Luna Mother and Claire Mama without hesitation. The words had long since lost their strangeness and become truth. One morning, a signal came not from Krell or Federation, but from deep space. It was faint-coded in old Xanthari script. Luna's hands trembled as she decoded it. The message was short. Survivors found. New colony forming. Come if you can, her breath caught. For years she believed she was the last, but others had lived. Others had rebuilt. She showed the message to Claire, who read it twice, then looked up. You should go. Luna shook her head. I can't leave you. You won't be leaving us, Claire said gently. We'll go with you. The children agreed without question. Neri packed tools and rations before Luna even finished speaking. Tor copied all his star maps onto secure drives. Within days, they prepped Claire's ship, now upgraded with Xanthari shielding and human navigation. They left the dome sealed, but alive lights on guard and watered a message carved into the door. We will return. The journey took 6 weeks through silent corridors of space. They passed dead stars and ghost ships, but also nebulas that shimmered like dreams. Neri learned to pilot. Tor charted safe routes. Claire kept the engines humming. Luna watched the stars and remembered songs she had not sung in decades. They arrived at a world called Alara, green and blue with twin moons and air thick with the scent of rain. A Xanthari settlement rose from the valley, domes like Varela but newer, brighter. As their ship landed, figures emerged, silver skin, violet eyes, faces lined with loss but also hope. An elder stepped forward, her voice soft. Luna of the 7th house, we thought you were gone. Luna bowed. I was lost, but I found my way back. The reunion was quiet at first. Tears were shed. Names of the dead spoken aloud. Then slowly joy returned. Children ran between the domes. Elders shared stories. Luna introduced Claire and the children. Some Xanthari stared. Humans were rare here, but none showed scorn. They saw the love in Luna's eyes, and that was enough. For weeks they stayed. Luna helped rebuild the council chamber. Claire fixed water purifiers and taught basic engineering. Neri trained with Xanthari youth, showing them human agility drills. Tor sat with the elders, learning ancient star songs. At night they gathered around fire pits, eating roasted root fruit and sharing tales. But tension grew beneath the surface. Some Xanthari whispered that humans did not belong, that their ways were too different. One elder named Vorik spoke openly. You bring earth customs into our home. You raise our young with foreign words. This is not pure. Luna stood before the council, her voice calm but firm. Love is not foreign. Family is not impure. Claire saved me. She gave me children when I had none. She stood against the Krell for us. If that is not Xanthari heart, then I do not know what is. Silence fell. Then the eldest elder nodded. You speak true, Luna. Your family is welcome here. Relief washed over Claire, but Luna knew the truth. They would always be seen as different, and that was all right. Difference had saved them. They decided not to stay. Alara was healing, but Varela was home. They loaded the ship with seeds and data crystals and promises to return. As they lifted off, Neri waved from the viewport. Tor pressed his palm to the glass. Claire held Luna's hand. Back on Varela, they found the dome untouched. The garden had grown wild but alive. They settled back into rhythm, but with new purpose. Luna began recording Xanthari history with Tor's help. Claire started a school linking Varela to Mars and Alara through shared lessons. Neri built a comms tower that could reach across sectors. Then the Krell returned. Not scouts this time, but a full fleet. 5 cruisers, dark and hungry. They came not for survivors, but for conquest. Varela sat on a key jump route, and the Krell wanted it. Luna knew running was useless. This was their home. They would fight for it, but they would not fight alone. Claire sent a single message. It carried the Xanthari peace glyph, the Human Federation code, and a child's drawing of their family. Within days, ships appeared on the edge of the system. Not just Mars freighters, but Alaran Xanthari vessels, sleek and sharp. Even a few independent traders who owed Claire favors. A small fleet, but united. The battle raged in orbit. Xanthari light cannons flared. Human missiles streaked through void. Krell ships exploded in silent fire. On the surface, Luna and Claire defended the dome with drones, turrets, and sheer will. Neri manned the comms coordinating strikes. Tor jammed enemy signals using songs as code. It was brutal. The dome took hits. The garden burned. But they held. In the final hour, a Krell command ship broke through. It landed near the ridge. Warriors poured out, led by a general with a scarred face and burning eyes. He knew Luna. He had been at her city's fall. "You still breathe, widow?" he sneered. Luna stood before the dome pulse blade in hand. "And you still lose." They fought not with rage, but with purpose. Luna moved like memory given form. Claire used the terrain, the smoke, the broken panels to trap and confuse. Neri dropped sonic mines from above. Tor guided them with calm precision. The general fell not to a blade, but to his own arrogance. He never saw the child's trap coming. When silence returned, the sky was clear. The Krell fleet retreated broken. The Allied ships cheered over comms. On the ground, Luna sank to her knees, exhausted. Claire knelt beside her, pressing a hand to her wound. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it," Luna corrected. They rebuilt again. Stronger this time. The garden returned with new flowers. The dome gained a memorial wall etched with names of the lost and the saved. Neri designed a defense net that linked Varela to Alara and Mars. Tor wrote a new star song about unity. One evening, as the red star set, they gathered in the garden. Claire served bread baked that morning. Neri showed plans for a school that would welcome all species. Tor read his latest poem about light in the dark. Luna looked at them, her human, her children, her life, and felt full. A message came from Alara. The council offered Luna a seat. She declined. "My place is here," she sent back. "With my family." Claire leaned against her. "Do you ever wonder what life would be like on Earth or Mars?" Luna smiled. "I had that life once. Empty and drifting. Now I have this. You, them, this garden, this moon, this peace we fought for. There is no better place." Tor looked up. "Will the Krell come back?" Maybe, Luna said. "But we'll be ready, and we won't be alone." They watched the twin moons rise over Varela, casting silver light on the blooming flowers. The air hummed with crickets Claire had bioengineered to sing in harmony. Neri laughed at something Tor said. Claire rested her head on Luna's shoulder. They had lost everything once, but from that loss they built something unbreakable. Not just a home, but a legacy. Not just survival, but love that crossed stars and species and time. And as the night deepened, filled with quiet joy and steady breaths, Luna knew she was no longer the broken widow of a dead world. She was mother, protector, poet. She was loved. She was home.